Songwriter Harlan Howard said, all you needed to write a great song was 3 chords and the truth. I disagree. I think you need 3 chords, the truth, and a capo. Let's talk about the capo today. How do we put the capo on? Well, there are all different kinds of capos, so I'm going to show you first the 2 most common kinds of capos, then I'll show you a few other oddball ones that I have in my collection in case you wind up with one of those yourself. But the idea is the same with all of them. If you're singing a song and the key is not right for you, it's too low, you have to sing really low, below your vocal range in order to get to it, or it's way too high, you can fix that by playing the same chords, but now using a capo. It's like having an extra hand. Let's take this really popular song from the 70s, Landslide, and play it without a capo. Sounds fine. And then I try to sing it. It's going to be too low for me. Took my love, took it down. I can't hit those notes. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. All right, capo clearly needed. Let's try the capo. Well, let's see. We're gonna put it at 2. And I'll show you how to put the capo on in a minute. But first I'm just gonna show you why we use the capo. Took my love, took it down. Still too low. Just go up another 2 because it's still clearly way too low. Capo is on 4. When I say the capo is on 4, it's right behind the 4th fret. Just where you would put your finger, right behind it. Not on top of it, not way back here, but right behind it. Took my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. Not bad. Let me go one more. Took my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. All right, that's fine. And it happens to be capo 5, where the recording is. So apparently my voice is right around the same place as Stevie Nicks' is. I could keep going. Well, let's just go one more, capo 6. See if that's even better. Took my love, took it down. Climbed a mountain and I turned around. Alright, so I could do it at 5 or 6, either one. I also got to test out the high notes. Saw my reflection in the snow-covered hills till a landslide brought it down. So that's mostly what a capo is used for, is to put songs in a better place for the voice so that you're not singing too low or too high. But you can keep playing the same chords. You don't have to change what you're doing with your left hand. You just take the capo and put it on different places on the neck until you find just the right spot for your voice for whatever song it is that you're working on. So let's talk about the 2 most common kinds of capos that you're going to find. One is the shub, and that's what I'm using right now. It tightens by using this screw on the back. And then you just pop it on and pop it off. Put the black rubber part up against the strings, and the other part, all the rest of it, all this part, goes behind the neck, where your thumb is, usually your left-hand thumb. And you want to make sure you cover all 6 strings. Then you just clamp it down right. So just push that down. If it's still loose, then you'll pop it back open, tighten it a little bit, clamp it back down again. Not put it on wrong. If you can see that, the black part is not covering the 6th string. And I get, ugh, that's no good. So I have to pop it off. Show you how I pop it off. I just pull on it. And this time I reposition it so that that rubber part is covering all 6 strings. And then just push it closed. Give you that from another angle. Just push it. I'm holding it in place with one hand and then pushing it closed with the other. And now we have, okay, all 6 strings are coming out nice and clearly. I want to take it off. Just grab this one really straight part and it pops off. That's the shub capo. The only thing with the shub capo is when you're not using it, you wind up setting it down and they all look the same, so it's quite easy for someone to walk off with your shub capo. How do you fix that problem? Well, 2 ways. The next most common you'll see is the Kaiser capo, and as you can see here, I was storing it at the end of the guitar. And this one works like a clothespin. You squeeze it with your left hand or right hand, whatever, and you want that long part to go up against the string and the short part in the back. And I'll put it in the same place, 5th fret. This takes some strength, so you may wind up using your right hand, whichever one is your dominant hand. If you're right-handed, that'll be your right hand, and put it on the 5th string. I mean, especially when it's new. It's really hard to open it and to, that helps if you do that. Helps a lot. The other thing about the Kaiser is when you put it on, it tends to, because it's so tight, it pulls the strings a little bit out of tune. So you have to check your tuning when you use a Kaiser. See on my thing now, it now says that it's sharp, just a little bit. They're both really good capos. You can't go wrong with either the Kaiser or the shub. Okay, now I'm going to show you another song and another kind of capo. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the park. Well, that's just a little too low. Take. I can't quite hit that low note. But it's not really way off, so I'm just going to capo it at 1. And this time I'm going to use the page capo. This one, I store it back there on the other side of the nut, and then I tighten it. It's got a screw in the back, and I tighten it just enough to where it'll stay in place without pulling the strings out of tune. I only see these in the bluegrass circles. I don't see these much anywhere else, but the bluegrass people seem to like these a lot. And so you'll put it there, hold it in place, and then screw it on the back. Don't overscrew it. Screw it enough to... Okay, everything's coming out clearly, but don't overdo it because you can strip the screw. It's happened. So one downside of the page, but the nice thing is that you can adjust that screw and it's not too tight, like the Kaiser can get too tight and then pull the strings out of tune. And that doesn't happen with this. And this one, again, like the Kaiser, you can slide it to the end, screw, and store it there, and it's not going to get misplaced and left on the table. Now I'm going to play the same chords, E and B7. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the park. That's pretty good. Let's try capo 2 and see if that's any better. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the park. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jack. I don't care if I ever get back. If it was still, the low notes were still too low, then I would take it up to capo 3. So let me just give you a short tour of the page. It's the same idea, right? We've got a black rubber bar covering the strings. as if it were a third hand. And then we've got a screw in the back and a little sort of a cradle. Cradles the neck and a screw that pushes that cradle closer and closer. So when I'm putting the capo on, I'll screw it until it's tight enough. And then when I'm moving it, it's really just a few turns. It shouldn't be a whole bunch of turns. And I'll move it back to the other side of the nut. Nut being this white thing here that all the strings are being held up by. And then give it a couple turns and it's secure in place. It's not going anywhere, but it's not super tight either. Okay, because I love you guys, I went to the store and I got one of these old school capos in case that's what you have. And to open the capo, pull the short end out from the hole. There we go. It's a little tight because it's new. Metal part up against the string. I'll just put a capo 3 here. Then take this elastic. You want this floppy part. That's used to protect the neck against these metal holes. All right, we'll grab the other end of it as I hold it down with one hand and then stretch it and put the peg, grommet, whatever you want to call it, through one of those holes. Scoot that up against the frets. Well, frankly, it's not gonna go one hole tighter. It's just like a belt. One hole, the pants are a little too loose, but 2 holes, they're too tight and you can't breathe. And that's the problem with these capos. And that's why they become less popular. The one reason that they are still popular is they're only $2. So there is that. They're cheap. There's my $2 capo. And frankly, it sounds like a $2 capo. So these are in case of emergency or if you just don't have anything else. If you can afford to spend the $20 or $25 to get a Shub or a Kaiser or a Page capo, it's totally worth it. But if this is all you have, then work with it. And it's better than nothing. So that's a quick tour of capos. How to use them, why to use them, and what kinds are available out there. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed this video, please hit like. And if you'd like more guitar tips, subscribe. Happy picking.